May the 23rd by Edward Thomas, 1878 to 1917. There never was a finer day, and never will be while May is May. The third, and not the last of its kind, but though fair and clear the two behind, seemed pursued by tempests overpast, and the morrow with fear that it could not last was spoiled. Today, ere the stones were warm, 5 minutes of thunderstorm dashed it with rain, as if to secure by one tear its beauty, the luck to endure. At midday, then along the lane, old Jack Noman appeared again, jaunty and old, crooked and tall, and stopped and grinned at me over the wall, with a cowslip bunch in his buttonhole and one in his cap, and who could say if his roll came from the flints in the road, the weather, or ale? He was welcome as the nightingale. Not an hour of the sun had been wasted on Jack. "I've got my Indian complexion back," said he. He was tanned like a harvester, like his short clay pipe, like the leaf and burr that clung to his coat from last night's bed, like the ploughland crumbling red. Fairer flowers were none on the earth than his cowslips wet with the dew of their birth, or fresher leaves than the cress in his basket. "Where did they come from, Jack?" "Don't ask it, and you'll be told no lies." "Very well, then I can't buy." "I don't want to sell." "Take them, and these flowers too, free. Perhaps you have something to give me." "Wait till next time, the better the day. The Lord couldn't make it better, I say. If he could, he never has done." So off went Jack with his roll walk run, leaving his cresses from Oakshott Rill, and his cowslips from Weetham Hill. 'Twas the first day that the midges bit, but though they bit me, I was glad of it. Of the dust in my face too I was glad. Spring could do nothing to make me sad. Bluebells hid all the ruts in the copse, the elm seeds lay in the road like hops. That fine day, May, the 23rd, the day Jack Noman disappeared. So, this is a poem by Edward Thomas. Let's see. He was born and brought up in London, although he's of Welsh descent. He was a critic, and he discovered many different poets. He then, near the end of his life, he started to write poetry during the First World War, and he joined up in the First World War and was sadly killed. So this poem is the description of a day, it's the description of a person, it's a description of the countryside. And there are several poems in this sort of genre by Edward Thomas. He's describing a person, and he's describing a day as well. There never was a finer day, and never will be while May is May. So it was a beautiful day. It's going to be impossible to find for a better day to be. May is always May, and therefore there will never be a finer day. the third and not the last of its kind. So I think here he's talking about 3 days in a row, and there were 3 beautiful days in a row. Though fair and clear the two behind seemed pursued by tempests overpast. So the 2 previous days had been clear and fair and it was beautiful weather, but these days there seemed like the threat of a tempest, of a storm coming. And the morrow, with fear that it could not last, was spoiled. And the next day there was the fear that this good weather couldn't last, and that spoiled the beauty of the next day. Today, ere the stones were warm, 5 minutes of thunderstorm dashed it with rain. So the stones were warm, the sun was warm, the sun had been shining on the stones, but there was a thunderstorm. It rained very heavily for 5 minutes. It dashed the stones with rain, it hit the stones with rain, as if to secure by one tear its beauty, the luck to endure. So it's as if this 5-minute rainstorm was one tear, was one bad thing or one unhappy thing, which meant that the beauty of the day could continue, that this sudden and brief thunderstorm wasn't going to change anything, and the luck of the weather, the luck of the beautiful day was going to continue. So he's describing a beautiful day. At midday then along the lane, old Jack Noman appeared again. So at midday, at 12 o'clock, old Jack Noman appeared. Jaunty and old, so jaunty, happy, maybe a little bit naughty, and old, crooked and tall. So maybe he's bent over. It's describing him. He's jaunty, he's happy, a happy old man. He's a tall old man. Maybe he's a bit crooked. I think this crooked could also mean that he's not necessarily the most honest of people, but it could just be his the way he holds himself. And stopped and grinned at me over the wall. So Jack Noman stopped and he grinned. He smiled at me. A grin is a big smile over the wall. This might be the wall to the speaker's garden, with a cowslip bunch in his buttonhole and one in his cap. So cowslips are a little yellow flower, and he's got a bunch of cowslips in the buttonhole in his jacket and one in his hat. Who could say if his roll came from flints in the road, the weather, or ale? So his roll, I think he's tripping, or he's not very steady on his feet. And maybe this was because of the flints, the sharp stones in the road. Or maybe it was because of the weather. Or maybe he'd been drinking. He was welcome as the nightingale, so it was wonderful to see him, because a nightingale is a bird that sings beautifully. So he was very welcome. It was wonderful to see him. Not an hour of the sun had been wasted on Jack. So I've got my Indian complexion back. So clearly he's been sunning himself. He's been taking the sun, and now I've got my Indian complexion. He looks like an Indian. His skin is tanned. He's become tanned in the sun, said he. He was tanned like a harvester. So a harvester is somebody who harvests the crops, and they spend all of their day outside working, and therefore they become very tanned. Like his short clay pipe. So his clay pipe, it was originally that long, and it's been broken and broken and broken, and he keeps using it. Like his short clay pipe. Like the leaf and burr that clung to his coat from last night's bed. So a leaf from his bed, from where he slept last night, and a burr. A burr is a little type of seed that sticks to you and is very difficult to get off. And these clung to his coat. These were on his coat from his the bed where he slept last night, wherever that might be. It sounds like he slept out in the countryside. He slept rough. Like the ploughland crumbling red. Okay, so fairer flowers were none on the earth than his cowslips wet with the dew of their birth. Okay, so he's, I think in this previous bit, he's saying that this brown, the clay pipe, the leaf, the burr, his tan, all of these were like the red ploughland, the red land that was that exists in this place. And then he says, fairer flowers were none on the earth. So there were no more beautiful flowers more beautiful than his cowslips, which were wet with the dew of their birth. So they've still, these cowslips have still got the morning dew on them. Or fresher leaves than the cress in his basket. So there's cress, probably watercress or some type of cress in his basket. And the speaker asks, where did they come from, Jack? Where did you get them? Don't ask it, and you'll be told no lies. This is this old saying, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies. Don't ask me if you don't want to be lied to. I'm not going to tell you. Very well, I said. Then I can't buy them. And Jack says, I don't want to sell. Take them and these flowers too for free. So Jack gives him the cress and he gives him the flowers. Perhaps you have something to give me. Maybe you've got something to give me back. Wait till next time. So wait for another day. Another day you will give me back something lovely. The better the day. So on an even better day than this. But I say, the speaker says, the Lord couldn't make a better, I say. If he could, he has never done. So I'm saying that today is such a lovely day, there couldn't be a better day. But pay me back another day, give me something nice another day, Jack says. So off went Jack with his roll, walk, run, with his funny way of walking, with his funny gait. Leaving his cresses from Oakshott Rill. Rill is a little stream or a river. So he left the cress from Oakshott Rill and his cowslips from Weetham Hill. So the writer actually does know where they came from. 'Twas the first day that the midges bit. A midge is a little insect, a bit like a mosquito, and it bites you. But this is saying it was the first day that the midges started biting. Midges are something that you find in summer. But though they bit me, I was glad of it. So despite the fact the midges were biting me, I was glad they were biting me. Of the dust in my face too, I was glad. So I was glad that there was dust blowing in my face. Here it's very clear that summer is coming. Summer is round the corner. Spring could do nothing to make me sad. So there was nothing bad that could happen on this beautiful spring day to make me sad. Bluebells hid all the ruts in the copse. So a copse is a small wood or a small wooded area. And bluebells are blue flowers. And they hid the little disperfections in the ground in the copse. The elm seeds lay in the road like hops. So the seeds of the elm trees, these are like helicopters, and they lay in the road as if they were hops. Hops are round things that you make beer with. That fine day, May the 23rd. So he remembers this day well. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful fine day. The day Jack Noman disappeared. And sudden twist at the end, and this is why he remembers all this, because Jack Noman disappeared that day and he never saw Jack again, and that's why he remembers this all so well. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. May the 23rd by Edward Thomas. Thomas.